Welcome back to the Sunday Roast, the show that overreacts to the weekend's footy, the show that roasts the losers and celebrates the winners, the show that gives you all the best odds of the weekend. If you are a new follower or the first time finding us on Instagram, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, whatever it is, this show we talk about every game of footy, we review the round, we give you the best bets of the round. Joining me as always, Darcy Dobe. How are you, brother?
Jev, I could be better. The 100k Cup can only go to one winner, obviously, and we will touch on that. So for anyone that doesn't know, 2/3 of the 100k, so me and Morgs, we bleed blue for Carlton, and Jev on the other side is red and white at heart. So there can only be one winner, and it was an absolute shellacking that we'll get into. But as we said, it can't break even. And so Jev got the chocolates on this time. He's got 8 bottles of wine coming his way. I've actually got Jev Pinot Noir or Point Noit. I don't think I can actually say it probably, but apparently the New Zealand brands are really nice. So
Sounds good. I actually haven't told my girlfriend this one because I was scared if we lose, but she can hear me right now. So if the Blues won, I was going to have to get both ears pierced. I went double or nothing. Because the Swans won, I get 8 bottles of Pinot Noir now from Das. So now I never have to get my ears pierced. She's happy. She's happy I don't have to get that done. So let's start back to Thursday night in Darwin. The Suns are a dynasty in Darwin, Das. They are 6-0. They're an absolute wagon. They pump the Cats. The Cats look too damn hot to be there. They win 164 to 100, 64-point shellacking. The most points Chris Scott has ever conceded as coach, 26 goals the Suns kicked. Talk to me, Dope.
yeah, Jev, as we can all see, 64 points. An absolute smashing. Who says footy can't be pretty in Darwin, Jev? Now, there's only a couple of times a year where something like this happens. And we did not think it was going to be Thursday night footy in Darwin between Gold Coast and Geelong. But this game will forever be known as the Goldmine game. Yep. For anyone that doesn't know. So if you're listening to this show, you probably like your punting like we do. And I can tell you what, we have our own Discord and it was absolutely going bananas. I can say I put 7 bets on for this game. Every single one of them cashed.
Yep, you did.
3 different multis and then 4 single bets. Look, I'll take what David King says. It's not about who you play. It's about when you play them. The Cats are a little bit undermanned. They were overheated. Cam Guthrie, Jev, got subbed out with overheating.
With heat stroke. He was too hot. He had to get subbed out.
He just looked like he just had a malfunction. He was on the bench. He just couldn't believe how hot it was up there.
When they showed that little fisheye on the bench of his head, it was steaming. He was too hot. He had to get subbed out. Is that the weakest way to ever be subbed out? Overheated.
Even Joel Selwood said, he's like, yeah, I know, Cam. I don't think you'll be too happy with that performance. He'd probably be pretty shattered. So, especially when you're coming off that brisk water down at Geelong, they're almost all see-through, those boys. They have not seen a lick of sun in that long, and just too much vitamin D got to them. But it was unbelievable. Some of the things we want to look at. Lukosius went forward and kicked 5. As soon as Jed Walter was out, a lot of people looked to put money on him, myself included, that we'll go through a little bit later. Tuke Miller was just running around stoppages, getting what he wanted. He had 32, Flanders 37, Sexton had 32, Rao was an absolute animal with 35 and 1, and the most underrated, underappreciated footballer in the AFL. We've been saying it for a while, 42 and 2 goals won. He's a smooth mover, and you probably don't realise just because he's a midfielder, he's 6'4". He's massive. He's a monster inside the midfield. That's Noah Anderson that we're talking about. But it must be said, I did call it. We watched the two TIO games last year up in Darwin, and Bailey Humphries, that was against the Dogs in Adelaide, and he played really well. And then last week he came on as the sub at 3/4 time. And he had 12 disposals, 7 inside 50s, 408 metres gained and 2 points. And I'm like, he's going to go nuts. They're going to play him forward. He's going to play the whole game. You could only get him for 4 goals. He ended up kicking 5. And we had probably, 70 DMs by the time he kicked that 4th goal at $71. I only had a sprinkle on it. Some blokes were having 10, 15, 20 bucks on it. Like, cheers, like, boys, enjoy your weekend. Honestly, fucking enjoy. But this is a fantastic game. I'll get into some odds a little bit after, Jev, but it was a smashing. And the Suns, you just don't know how to take them because they beat some sides and then they get bullied against Brisbane. So it's you don't really know how to take them, but awesome win.
Those two in the midfield, Rao and Anderson, I think, what are they about to turn? How old are they about to be? Say next year. I still think they can maybe play a final this year, but they're going to be
23, 24.
23. They're going to be about 24 next year. They are two hungry beasts, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're animals. And we all sort of know this about the Cats. So everyone respects and appreciates how well the Cats are coached, how well they defend. They're superstars up forward. The way they take it from back half to forward half is just elite when Jeremy Cameron's out there. But their midfield is definitely average. And without Dangerfield, they got a good old-fashioned ass kicking, like whooped. So you roll out the midfield, Brandon Parfitt, Cam Guthrie, Jack Bowes, Tanner Bruin, and Tom Atkins. There's a lot better midfields in the AFL. I'll go as far as saying there's 14 better midfields in the AFL. They're with St Kilda in the bottom sort of 5 without Dangerfield midfields in the AFL. And it shows how good Dangerfield is and because they are a premiership team. But you lose Selwood, Dangerfield goes, you didn't really have the next midfielder step up, and then Hawkins and Jeremy Cameron don't play. They just got taken to school and they were fumbly. The ball was wet and greasy for them. But then you looked at Gold Coast, who are used to the conditions, and then how brutal would a preseason be in the middle of Gold Coast over the summer? Like, they do some 40, 42-degree days in Gold Coast over preseason. They just handle the conditions so much better. It's sort of like, it's not what annoys me about the competition, but like, Geelong would never win the flag if the grand final was played in Darwin, but because it's played on the MCG on a chilly spring day, it gives them a chance, and it's hard for the Suns. If every game was played in Darwin, they would win the flag this year. They are fucking elite. They have got some beasts in the midfield, so I'm super happy for the Suns. The Suns go 2-0 again at their double back-to-back in Darwin. They're never going to lose there. Well, how hard will it be to beat them there?
Yeah. I pose the question. I still want the grand final to beat the MCG every single year because the home of footy, it's the biggest, you get 100 there. But can you imagine if they did start to raffle it round and they're like, all right, they're having it in Queensland again this year, and you just know like the Queensland teams, they finish top 4, you're like, fuck, they're probably not going to lose this. It's going to be like a dewy game and like really playing to the hands of that. But yeah, it's
sort of like, as you said, sort of like if the Gabba knew they were getting the 2028 grand final, like you just build your team and you go all in on free agents and stuff to make that grand final and play in it. Sort of like Tampa Bay and Tom Brady did the year he won the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl was in Tampa Bay. They got Antonio Brown, Gronk. They got all these free agents in to win it that year because it was a home Super Bowl. Like, you can imagine Gold Coast knew the 2027 grand final was played at Metricon or whatever they call their stadium now. They would be like just ready to win that grand final. But it's never going to change. We love the grand final at the G every year, but yeah.
As you said, and then the Rams did it the next year. They knew that it was going to be at home, correct. And then they just sold the rest of their money. They're like, if we win a Super Bowl now, the amount of money and the fans and everything that we get from like sponsorships, it's like this will last us the next fucking 10, 20 years, like just from winning a championship and actually solidifying yourself.
Von Miller, they had OBJ come in to win. Yeah, fucking oath. So the Suns were just fucking awesome. Let's get into some odds. Noah Anderson is a fucking beast, pyramid player. What could you get Noah Anderson for 40?
Yeah, so I've got all the stats written down. So Noah Anderson for 40 was so this is an absolute cash cow. So this whole thing. So Noah Anderson for 40 was $12.50. Flanders for 35 was $3.90, which was a bit short. Rao for 35 disposals was $18. So if you like any of these players, you are absolutely cashing. Sexton for 30 touches was $9, and Max Holmes even for 30 touches was $4.75, which is one that we have to keep looking at, Jev, because that could be paying a fair bit. With the goals, Bailey Humphrey, we couldn't get him for 5 on Sportsbet, which is what I put it on, but for 4 goals was $71. So we had a lot of people cashing on the Bear. Even DM'd him the next day, Jev, and he replied back. He's like, how much did you win? Send him the ticket. He's like, just send a couple of love hearts back. So we love the Bear. Lukosius for 5 goals, Jev. This is the 3rd straight time he's kicked 5 goals up there. So $41 he was paying. Sportsbet gave me an odds boost before the game at $64. So I said, thank you very much. I'll be taking that, and I'll be taking the Bailey Humphrey 71-1. So I got both of them. Max King for 4. He had a quiet game, but still kicked 4, which is $4.70. Sam
Day.
It was
average to end with 4.
Oh. Yep. Yeah, there must be something in the family at the moment. They must be having a bad casserole, one of Nan's casseroles. It's just giving him a stomach bug. But Sam Day, I honestly forgot he was still on the Gold Coast list. So for 3 goals, he was $9. These are all juicy now. Anderson for 2 goals, $2.25.
Yeah.
625. Swallow for 2 goals was 725, and Brian Myers was 440 for 2 goals. Like, all of those odds are just monstrous.
So can you just quickly again? So what was Lukosius? I'm just going to say, if you had this same game multi, what was Lukosius for 5?
So 41.
41 times Bailey Humphrey for 4 was 71.
Yep.
Times Anderson for 40.
1250.
12.5. Times Anderson for 2.
625.
Times 6.25. Times Rao for 35. That's all go.
$18.
Times 18. If you had that 5-leg multi, that was 4 million to 1. 4 million to 1. Lukosius 5, Humphrey 4, Anderson 40 and 2, Rao 35. Imagine making 4 million. Oh God, that's how big these odds were. Like, that game was a gold mine. It happens about once, twice a year, and there's a game coming up that I think is going to be a gold mine that we're recording before it starts. But anyway, let's get into the 100K Cup. It's enough of that game. I'm going to let you go first on this game. Swans Blues. The Swans handle business. Win by 52 points. You go first, us, as the Blue supporter.
All right, let's quickly run through this game, Jev, very quickly. It was absolute dog's ass by the Blues, 27 and zip. Harry misses one from the top of the goal square, Jev, and the footy gods just decided then and there, that's enough. Let's teach the Blues another lesson. Let's get Wiedering a corked thigh. He was so sore trying to run off the ground. He got subbed out, and then we got absolutely smashed, Jev. There is no excuses for this. I'd like to say that I'm not an arrogant Carlton supporter. I like to say I'm more hopeful and optimistic. I think most of the times when I watch a game, I think if we bring our best, we can challenge. And we got absolutely dog walked. We got ran over. We were asked. We weren't up to it. Outmatched, outclassed. Lack of the troops. And we honestly look flat. We saw a video the other day, which I actually found so interesting. Vossi came out and said that after the second game, so round 1, after they beat Richmond, they did another massive block of preseason. And
no, yeah, go, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what I gathered. They did another block then, like a heavy block, and the players look fucking cooked. We get so many soft tissue injuries now. The guys that are out there, like, I genuinely don't know where we are. We just look like a middle of the pack team where we are right now. I still defend when we're fit and healthy, and if we get all the troops back, we're up there with the top handful of teams. But at the moment, until you get on the park and you can actually get players playing with each other, we're just going to sort of keep putting in these performances where you can sort of push sides. We're lucky to beat Melbourne. We didn't beat Adelaide. We're lucky to beat Brisbane, lucky to beat Richmond. So we're just like a 500 team at the moment, which is pretty much where we stand at. If we get the good stuff, if we get all the players back, obviously we can be better. But until we get then, you can only judge us off what we're on. I think defensively the other night, we were atrocious. We look like we just lacked effort. And I honestly don't know what the go is, whether you have an opinion. I like Charlie going back behind the ball, but he went back so early. He went back at the start of the
9 minutes to go in quarters.
So I get Wiedering was out, so I'm a bit unsure about some of the coaching that Vossi's been doing as of late. But Jev, the Swans, I'll let you talk about. But I had probably Warner's game as probably my second favorite game of the year. So he's just so twitchy, so fast. But it's scary to see what the Swans are doing. Are they peaking too early, Jev? You'll say no, but fuck. Go on, lay it on me. Roast. The floor is yours.
There is no team close to the Swans at the moment. Like, it's not close right now. And the peaking too early thing, you can say whatever you want. We can only beat who we play, and we're fucking pumping them. Like, it's not close at the moment. Round 0, Melbourne, top 8 side. Where are Melbourne on the ladder right now? I think they're top 4. Beat them easy, 22 points.
Fifth.
Collingwood, everyone's talking about how good Collingwood, they've hit form, all this stuff. Beat them by 33 points on the MCG. Beat Essendon by 5 goals, 30 points. We beat the Suns by 53 points, who just beat the Cats and scored 100. We beat the Giants by 30 points. We beat Freo by 48 points, and we beat Carlton by 52 points. We're 7-0 against top 8 teams, and it's not close. They aren't close games. We are pumping them. And you want to know how you become the best player in the league, Das?
Oh, how?
You do it against Carlton.
Yes, you do.
3 weeks ago, Jeremy Cameron kicks 5, gives Carlton their first loss of the season. Everyone's just like, Oh, how good is Jeremy Cameron? All week, he's the best player in the com. Brett, we're going on the show saying it's now time to buy 51-1 Brownlow Jeremy Cameron, this and that. The week after that, Nick Dacos kicks that goal when it's a draw. Everyone's like, how do we forget about this kid? He's the best player in the com. Blah, blah, blah. Like, why are we even saying anyone else is better? The next week, Christian Petrarca kicks 5 in a loss. Everyone's like, is Christian Petrarca's season going underrated? How good is Petrarca? That was scary what he just did to the Blues. And then Isaac Heaney had to fucking prove that he is the best player in the com. And it's not close right now. Our Brownlow Shark has him on 20 Brownlow votes after 10 games. 2 Brownlow votes a game. He is leading the coaches' votes by about 20 votes, I'm pretty sure. Or 15 votes. He hasn't played one game this year without getting a coach's vote. He's the highest rated champion data player. He'll get 2 Brownlow votes, but you guys were playing well on him. Then he decided to go forward and he kicked 3 in a quarter. He kicked 3 in the third quarter to just end the game. It was game over after 3/4 time. It was 15 points at halftime. Isaac Heaney floats forward, kicks 3 in the third quarter, 24 touches after an okay first half. He just ended the game. He is the best player in the comp. And I called before the season that Carlton will miss the 8. I called it because I think your top 5 superstars are a little injury prone. But it just shows, and it works both ways. I didn't hate the 12.5 points because your superstars can turn a game like that. Charlie can kick 4 1/4 like that, but it goes the other way. So we get lucky, Wiedering gets a corky. We tag Walsh, Cripps doesn't have a big day, and then we hold Colonel Mackay, and you are a bang-on average football team. Bang on average. James Jordan, I reckon if you stop 2 of the 3, James Jordan beats Walsh hands down. Walsh's worst game in how many games? 15 games he hasn't had a game that bad. Yeah. He had how many touches? I think it was only 50. He had 20 in the end. So Walsh has 20. Wiedering gets a corky. And then we're playing like Malikan on Curnow and he does the job. Curnow's gone behind the footy. This is how I knew we were giving you an ass kicking. Michael Voss went from coaching on the bench to back up to the box and Curnow was playing centre half back. That's like when Fev went and played on Fraser Garrick at fullback. That is when we were giving you an ass kicking. And the way I see the Swans is a bit like Collingwood last year. Remember when we were saying Collingwood aren't that good, they're beatable. Everyone knows what the Swans are going to do. They know it's just a high-pressure game in your face. Then we're good ball movement when we get the ball, and any player on the field can kick a goal. It's pretty simple. We put the pressure on, we're slick when we get it, and anyone on the field can kick a goal. Like Chad's kicking them. They're all kicking them. Everyone knows that, but it's can you stop it? And I haven't seen a team be able to stop it except for Richmond. Yeah. Funny enough, except for Richmond. They were fantastic that day and Tom Lynch got a hold of us. So I'm watching right now and I'm like, we're top of the ladder, 2 games clear on top with a percentage of
154.
154.
Next is 112. Oh, no, the next bit, Melbourne have 121, but they're 5th.
Yeah, and we're... How many points clear? We're 12 points clear. We're 3 games clear of Melbourne with percentage. It's just unbelievable how well we're going at round 10. And yes, you can say the peaking thing too early, but in a way, it's not peaking too early. It's just playing a brand of footy that's just working well. And if you're going to figure it out, you'd want to put it on tape before finals because who we got coming up? I want to see how we go against Port Adelaide and Geelong still. But watching Geelong and the way Port Adelaide attacked them with speed and then the way Gold Coast attacked them with speed, I'm excited about playing Geelong. I can't wait to see.
Is it down there?
Don't know. I'm going to look it up. So we've got the Dogs who are in good form this Thursday night at Marvel Stadium.
Should be interesting.
That'll be a good game. They always play well. Bond always plays well against us. They'll stretch us. Then we have Geelong in Sydney the week after that. So I can't wait to see that line. We're going to pump them dust because we're just going to go at speed with them.
You know what's unbelievable? The fact that obviously because Warner and Heaney were hitting the scoreboard, and when they were talking about after the game, they were talking about the best duos, and then they'll just only putting Warner and Heaney. So, geez, you're very quick to forget about Goulden when he just doesn't have a kick on goal. Had 28 disposals, and some of his field kicking was just
He's beautiful.
You just watch it. He's probably my favorite kick. He stomps his right foot in the dirt and just gives these.
He puts the right arm out and just hits. He's a beautiful kick to watch. So Chad Warner's kicked 3 and had 28. Heaney's kicked 3 and had 24. Papley's kicked 2 goals, 3. He could have had a big day. Amati, McLean, Haywood, Wicks, Cunningham, Jordan, Rowbottom. So Logan McDonald hasn't kicked a goal. It just comes from everywhere. It's like a red tsunami, as they say. They call the Giants a red tsunami. Comes from everywhere. They're all kicking goals. So Chad Warner goes and sits a full forward. He's a tackle breaker. He's fast. And he finishes his goals. Like, he's so hard to match up on. Heaney goes and sits down there. You put a midfielder on him, he's too good as a forward because he's been a forward for 10 years. You put a back on him, he's become a ground ball picking up, tackle breaking midfielder. How hard is he to match up when he goes down there? You've got Nick Blakey coming off the half back line, who I think is an all-Australian lock. And he's going under the radar because everyone's talking about Heaney, Chad. Errol has a quiet end. And then it's guys like James Jordan that do it. This is what I like about the Swans. We're not arrogant enough to not put time into the other team's best players. So James Jordan goes and does a roll on Walsh. It's not like, no, it's our system versus your system, which is what Collingwood did, and it won him a flag. It's like, no, we're going to stop Walsh. He's so damaging. So we stop Walsh. Rowbottom stands on Cripps and has 15 tackles. Florent goes through there, who's physical. It's just, we are absolutely. Brody Grundy's playing amazing footy, like really good footy. So
He's exactly what you needed. He's exactly what you needed.
We're flying, and I try and keep a lid on it, but there's no point keeping a lid on it when we're pumping top 8 sides. Like, why would I?
I know that there's a potential take that you're cooking with it.
I'm flirting with.
Yeah, you're flirting with this. Jev's got a take. And he's flirting with it, but he doesn't want it to maybe come out yet because you just, as you said, Jev, like you just, it's round 10. You just flirting.
I'm at the bar, sort of winking across the bar at this take. I'm going to offer to buy it a drink, see how long it's in town for. Whereabouts does it live in Melbourne? I'm flirting with this take.
Yeah, it's nice.
We've got Wally and Leggy on the pod. Well, maybe I'll do it this week and see how well the take goes. I don't know, but
because the disposals were pretty low, Jev. So there was 4 big ones. So Heaney for 3 goals was $6.25.
Yeah,
Warner
nice.
for 3 goals was $9.25.
It's nice.
Nick Newman for 31 disposals was $6, which is great. So he every now and then has. Good. He has these big games off the half back line. And then Warner for 25 was $2.50. So the family and friends of the Warners would have absolutely filled their boots. So you had $9.25 for 3 and then $2.50 for 25, Jev.
Cripps and Heaney getting 24 each was a multi-killer. Walsh having his worst game of the season was a multi-killer. Everyone was talking 25-30.
We said this. So I've heard from multiple sources that Sam Walsh is just like he's an ultra competitor, toys out of the cot sort of guy when it doesn't go his way. So at training, cracks at blokes, and then he sort of has to go up. Sorry about that. I just really want to win. And you can watch on the weekend. He was just like having a conniption, like couldn't get a kick. He's getting pelted. Sort of
angry where a tear nearly drops down your eye.
Yeah.
He was standing on the mark looking like he's about to start crying. Like he's going to have a big couple of weeks because that would have pissed him off.
He's like one of those guys, like, when they flog themselves when they're bad. He's probably at the track now just running. Yeah. Running.
He's one other thing that's been grinding my gears. So I brought out my pyramid and I had Chad Warner on the 4th row, Das. The 4th row.
Oh, yeah. I just want to say talk your shit right now because this is great.
And everyone was commenting saying, like, Chad isn't in there. Like, Chad's too high. Just talking shit about Chad. And then David King came out on Fireball Friday. This griped my gears. And he said, Isaac Rankin is a top 3 player in the comp. We both love Isaac Rankin.
Yep.
And then some guy called up and he's like to Kingy, who are the 2 players better than Isaac Rankin? He goes, Dacos, Bont, Rankin. And it's just like... first of all, that pissed me off. And then Kane's like, I'm going to name 23 better players than Rankin. And
funny.
He's naming players and Kingy's just brushing them off. And then he goes, Isaac Heaney, Errol Goulden, Chad Warner. And King goes, Chad Warner? Better than Isaac Rankin? And he got all thing. And I'm like, They are it's like comparing apples to apples. They do it the same way. They're leg drivers, they're tackle breakers, they're goal kickers, they're dancers in stoppages. Chad Warner is everything Isaac Rankin is, and Kingy just thought that's not it. It was disrespectful calling Chad Warner and Isaac Rankin in the same stratosphere. Fuck, it pissed me off to us. It frustrated me so much. And to be fair to Kingy, it would have annoyed me on Friday anyway, but I didn't listen to it till Saturday morning after Chad's game.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, I'll be interested to see how David King addressed this because Chad is fucking awesome. And he is the same as Isaac Rankin. He's probably a bit better midfielder. Isaac's a better forward. But when you combine forward and midfield together, they are the same player.
David
Stats
King's,
and everything.
He does his words very well, though, sometimes. He, puts it in, almost like Colin Coe does sometimes with new information.
Yeah,
you get new opinions.
Yeah.
And it's like with the Bombers there, he hates him. He's like, oh, well, now this is the new Bombers, and then sort of gives them their flowers off that. Yeah. So he's always said in the background they're good players.
Yeah.
But now he'll be like, I've told you they were good players, but now they're even better players. So he just sort of he always has a bit of insurance in the back pocket with them, so he's never quite wrong.
I can't wait for the means test tomorrow, and I'm texting in SEN tomorrow morning. I'm texting Kane in the 6 o'clock hour. He's going to read it out. I'm going, fucking hell, Kane. Yo. Anyway, so that was the 100K Cup that wasn't close. Bit of a fizzer in the end, the Swans. So it was 27-0, Carlton. Then it was 96 to 40. We outscored you 96-18 after a 27 start. So it's worries at Carlton. You're injured as Wiedering's got an all-time corky. Who you got next week?
We got a red hot Gold Coast.
Yeah, but Gold Coast was the team that changed your season last year when Pat Cripps just said, nah, you're coming on.
My perspective's different now every game. I'm just almost coming in now just being like, all right, let's just see what happens because I honestly don't know what's going to you rock up to a Swans game and you know what effort you're going to get. You know what players are going to be out there. You know what style you're going to try and bring. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to win.
Yep.
No pun intended because you guys won 9 out of 10 games. But with everything else, it's with us, it's I don't know.
Yeah.
Are we going to stand up in defense? If we don't have a defender back, we better get on to the other game. Zach Williams isn't a defender.
Nah.
He doesn't defend. He needs everyone else around him to be absolutely bulletproof so then he can attack.
He can attack.
He gets caught out. He doesn't, he's not strong enough in a contest and he's always trying to look to go forward before he tails back the other way. There were so many times where Warner or Henny just ran through the middle of the ground and tick lead and just, I think once one domino fell, everything was out of whack and it was
that's the biggest worry. One top 5, your 5 superstars, one gets injured and you replace him with one player and all of a sudden you're like, this isn't the same Carlton anymore. And then you've got injuries on your outside players and now you're bringing in more depth players and you're like, you are not good enough. What the hell? And he doesn't come in and play a role. I don't know. It's
shit.
It's not bad yet, but you don't want many more injuries. It's too many injuries. And if it's from that heavy training load, Carlton supporters are going to be pissed. Anyway, we're going to move on. Collingwood Adelaide is always game of the year to us. Every year they play a thriller and it always ends in Collingwood winning the close ones. I would feel sick if I was Adelaide. Collingwood get it done by 4 points in a great game of footy. Did you watch much of this game, Dobe?
No, I was going to pretty much hang over to you. I actually, shout out to Nan. I had Nan's 90th yesterday. It was an unbelievable day. So shout out to Nan. So I actually missed this one. Didn't get to go watch I checked the score the last little bit. I saw Crows were down at 3/4 time by a couple of kicks, and then I checked it, then there was about even, and then I watched the last 20 seconds with the Rankin run and got called back. Obviously the right decision. But another cracker, Jev. What happened?
It's just Adelaide. I reckon they're so well coached. They always know how to get themselves back into a game. When they had to win the game after 3/4 time, Jordan Dawson sort of just was a midfielder, but then he just went and stood by himself in the forward half of the ground. And it's like, righto, trust our back line. Get it to Dawson, and he set up the first goal. He got the Crows in front, and then this is where I got to give credit to Kingy. Isaac Rankin was fucking awesome, awesome, and he kicked this goal in the last quarter to put him in front, and he shushed the crowd, and it was like, oh, they're coming, and then Collingwood, as they do, they handle business. They just kept themselves in it. They kept themselves in it. They hit the front, a nice a run through the middle, Jordan to goal, put him in front. And then Adelaide had their chance. And then the umpires called a running too far for Isaac Rangan. He did his hammy on it as well. I hope he's not out for too long. He ran about 20 metres. It was you just don't make that call in that situation, especially. So he burst. You've probably seen it. Took the bounce, probably too early. Like he didn't run his 15, took the bounce. Then he ran. He would have run his 15. Then his last 5, you could see he was setting up to kick. So it's sort of like you don't call that. And my opinion is you just don't call that. Kicked it inside 50, went out of bounds. Then it got brought back up to the wing because he ran too far. Would have given, I think it was about 17 seconds left. Ball in. Adelaide have a chance to kick a goal and win. It annoyed me they made that call. I would have liked to saw the boundary throw in.
I know it's annoying, but I'm sort of happy. Like if it's the right decision, like he overran by like 5 meters. It's
but
if he was against your team, he went down and kicked it, and you're like, "Fuck you, stupid dogs."
I wouldn't care. I just wouldn't have made that call. If he ran 30 meters in total with one bounce, I feel like you just average it out a little.
Yeah, you're saying just because he bounced it earlier.
He took that bounce after 5 meters. It's like there's his bounce. Give him a little bit of. It's not like he ran 40. Anyway. I just didn't like the decision. But Collingwood win, as they always do. Dacos was awesome. Pendlebury, at quarter time, Nick Dacos had 15 touches, 7 contested inside 50s. Pendles had like 13 touches, 2 goals. They were on fire. But credit to the Crows, they always like get their way back in. They get their game going. Jordan Dawson, Isaac Rankin are fucking great players. Tex Walker not kicking 2 was a multi-killer for everyone. And it was it's just Saturday Arvo on the G. This game never misses, especially when Collingwood play. Great game of footy. You feel sorry for the Crows. They just cannot win that game against Collingwood. They give themselves a chance every fucking year and they just can't do it. So do we have some odds? Degoe kicked 2 and had 26.
Well, let's start with the touches. So Dacos for 40 was $5.50.
That's nice. He was good. He gets 3 Brownlow votes. He's coming to us. He's fucking coming.
Fucking oath he is. Pendlebury for 30 was $6.
That's nice. Josh
Dacos
for 30
was $2.40. Who else we got?
Isaac Rankin had 30.
$16.
Wow.
16. Who else do we have? 25. What's Johnny Noble? Johnny Noble for 25. Didn't he have an unbelievable game and a goal? 275 for 25. So that's not that much. Mitch Hinge, 212. No, let's go on to the goal kickers. Who we got? Degoe kicked 2.
Wouldn't have been. Rochelle 2. Pendles 2.
Yeah, where's Scott Pendlebury? Pendles. You couldn't even get Pendles for 2. She even get him for 1?
Surely. If anyone had Pendles 1, 2, or the first.
No, you couldn't get Pendles. Couldn't get Pendles for 1 or 2.
Really?
Why don't they just? They're that big of a bookie. Just fucking get the odds out.
Yeah, for everyone, just fucking do it.
Yeah, no, you can barely get anything. Reef McGuinness is $1.92 for 2. Yeah, there's not too many big goal kickers. That's really shattering, Jev. I really wanted to know what Pendles paid for 2. It should have been about $15.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's upsetting. The Pies are just... It just goes to show, no matter where your team is right now in the AFL, whether it be Carlton, obviously Collingwood, Brisbane are starting to come up. There is such a long season. They lost their first 3. They're not making the finals. Saints win their first fucking 2. Then they smash the Pies. Like, fuck, here they come. And then a bit of misfortune with some injuries, suspensions, and then in those games, they probably would have won a little bit more. They didn't. Now they've got their full team back, but they just can't win.
Yeah.
And Saints are all of a sudden a bottom 4 side. Collingwood are a top 4 side at the moment. I was going to say it last week. I'm shattered that I didn't, because now they're playing really well. But I was like, out of the teams that genuinely look like a premiership contender, it was like the Swans, the Pies, and who else was I thinking, which probably isn't true. I said Geelong was still there, but then they got absolutely flogged. Fuck, it only looks like there's so many in the mix, but I feel there's only a couple that seem like they're going to win it. But it's all going to be the last 4 weeks of the year. The last 4 weeks of the year, that's what you want to see. Yeah, there's always going to be a team that makes a super late charge, like a Giants or Blues did last year. Well, 13th, 14th, and just like, holy fuck, like, you just don't want to back a team on momentum. And then there's going to be teams like the Swans and the Pies last year. They obviously were top 2. Then they got to rest. And they were losing games, but then as soon as they hit finals, they just turned it on. So,
If I was Collingwood, I would be fucking pumped right now. After that 0-3 start, they sort of got pushed to the side. Everyone's talking about the new sexy teams and stuff. Now they're just winning games, creeping into the top 4. Everyone's talking about how good the Swans are. Dacos is back in form. I know they're Collingwood. They're always going to be spoken about, but they're just sort of going under the radar. And Geelong were flying. They're just sort of just winning footy games while teams lose around them. Like, they're getting lucky with the teams that are losing around them. Like, GWS have fallen off. Geelong have fallen off. Carlton have fallen off. So Collingwood have just started winning, just crept their way up the ladder. You should be wrapped as a Pies fan.
Yeah, all those top sides sort of beating each other, which is nice. So it's making it nice and even. But I do want to say, for anyone that's an Adelaide supporter, I'd love to know in the comments, who are the Crows going to go after, Jev? Because they have a lot of money. They have a lot of money. Obviously, they wanted to go after Goulden. They've asked to maybe go after Dawson. Caleb Daniels' name's been thrown out. They've got a lot of money to spend. I just want to know who they're actually going to go after. Like, what else do they need? Are they going to – is Riley Philthorpe still there? He's going to come back. Tex is going to come out. Is Fogarty going to step up? Are they going to go for another defender, maybe a better ball user so Dawson can play more midfield? They're going to get someone more across the half back line. Michael Annie, they've got some really good talent back, but where are they going to spend the money?
Yeah. Would you like we floated a couple of these last night. So, like, McCluggage, the free agent –
He'll come back to Victoria if he does.
Yeah, but the way he has the class in the inside 50, it'd be like he's the inside 50 kicker with Dawson. Then Dawson has the grunt with Laird and Crouch. And then it's sort of like you've got the class to get it inside 50 with Dawson and McCluggage now. Then you've got the grunt to win the ball. And another one, if you were St Kilda, would you trade Max King for Riley Thorpe and Adelaide's first round pick? I'd do it in a heartbeat if I was the Saints. There's no way Riley Thorpe is clearly worse than Max King because Max King is fucking horrible. So I'd say that experiment didn't work. He's not competitive enough. It doesn't look like it means anything to him. I'd get Thorpe in, and what St Kilda need is high-end draft picks. Adelaide aren't going to make the 8. They're going to finish in the bottom half, so it'll be a top 10 pick. You get Thorpe, who can't be any worse than King. You get a top 10 draft pick, and you lose Max King, who it clearly hasn't worked.
Well, I reckon what the Crows need, not that they can, but whether they were able to get like a De Goey, like a real twitchy player, like a Heaney, a Warner, they just need someone that's like,
that's what Rochelli's supposed to be, but he's just not, is he?
Yeah, he's not that fast. Like,
I love Saligo.
They need someone with a bit, Saligo's, but just someone else with a bit of spark that can hit the scoreboard.
Yeah, a bit of set, like a Chad Warner. They should
that's what I said. Yeah, Chad Warner's like literally perfect.
What
like
the Crows, 1.8 a year, like 1.5 a year, 10-year contract for Chad. Yeah, because they already tried with Errol. I reckon it's more Chad they need than Errol. But
is his brother any good, or is he just a sponge in the twos?
he's just a Sam Wicks half forward, put pressure on, work up the field. He's a Matt Cottrell. He's like, it's not Chad Warner 2.0, that's for sure. But
Jeff, next game.
What has happened to the GWS Giants? This is the ghost of the Giants. Lose to the Dogs by 27 points. They only kicked 6 goals, 7 for the day. The Dogs smashed them. They kicked 8 goals, 22. Like, this game wasn't close. They fucking pumped them. Good on the Dogs. They were very good. What has happened to the Giants? What can you tell me about this game, Das?
It's weird. You win a game by 27 points and you only win by 2 goals. Like, that's how much scoreboard pressure. 8 goals, 22. That's what the Dogs kicked in the back end. It was slippery, shitty conditions. Just want to give a shout out, Lockie Whitfield. Sometimes when it's wet, I'm like, fuck, backers. You got to forget. But he did get there.
He took every kick out for those 22 points.
I had him in a couple of multis. I'm like, let's go, boy. Keep going. Keep taking those kick outs.
I'm looking it up right now.
If you went to have a look at this,
14 kick-ins.
Yeah, that's great. That's what you want for the backers. Callan Ward clamped Bontempelli. I had a couple of multis writing, Jev. If you told me the losing leg was going to be Bont 20 touches, I just put it in as a fill. It was like $1.08.
It cost me so much money.
Did it?
Yeah, so much.
I was like, and he had 10. He had 8 in the last quarter, so he was trying to come. He was trying to go for the boys. Yeah, so Toby Green and Jesse Hogan, by the way, we need to study Jesse Hogan's game in the wet.
He loves clunking them.
This is like the 4th game in the wet that he has a vice grip. So Toby Green finally got on the board. I didn't back him. Really should have, because we knew one of these games was coming. Jev, we had a look at the form before against the Dogs. It's like 5-4, 3-5, and a 7-goal game. So, but we didn't end up backing him. But all the small role players just seem to get the job done. Harms has obviously picked up from where he left off last week, and he's just trying to surge through stoppages, get the ball forward. He had a couple of good shots on goal, kicked 2 goals too.
He kicked a great goal.
Riley West is finally getting in a little bit more. And what has been an unbelievable call by us is just the fact that just back Ed Richards at the moment.
Yeah.
Because he's getting so much of it. They said that he's a more polished McRae.
Yep.
It gets to a lot of contests. For 20 disposals, I can tell you right now, because he was in the 100K, it was $1.56 for 20. He had
that
27.
Best leg.
And he looked unbelievable. Like he doesn't panic, does he? When he gets the ball, he tries to find the right decision. But the amazing part, the fact that the Dogs didn't they played well, but when's Jamara going to come on? I don't know what the go is with him. Like, he has to be so frustrating. Like, he has to be kicking bags soon. But especially for the rest of the Giants boys, they looked super frustrated because they were in with it in a chance and they were running up and down. Bedford missed a couple of shots late. Cadman just can't really get into it. What do you have? Another 6 disposals.
Yeah.
I don't know. But as we said, the league's weird. They were premiership favourites after 5 games.
Yeah.
They're the best team in the league.
Now they're beatable on every line. Now it's like you can – Toby Green's been quiet. He was really good yesterday, Toby Green. He was competitive. He was good. It was good to see him back. Hogan was good. But it's like, what has happened to Binger, Bedford? What has happened to these guys? Remember Toby Bedford and Brent Daniels last year were like – if they were in the All-Australian squad of 40, I would have been happy. That's the role. That's how important they were to this team. What has happened to those two? And then, their backline's getting a hold of. Like 8 goals, 22. Yeah, they were holding up. And then their midfield got a touch up where Tom Green was good, but the Dogs were just better. That's the second time you've watched the Giants and gone, you're getting smashed in the midfield here. Like Carlton did it, and you're like, yeah, you're a good player, but you guys are getting smashed at clearances. So, what's happened to the Giants? They are just nowhere near as good. Happy for the Dogs. They're playing well. Norton's playing well. Yes, the thing I like about Ed Richards, as you were saying, it's like he's done his apprenticeship off halfback. So he's had 1,000 kicks in the league running off halfback with Bailey Dale. He's a beautiful kick of the footy. He's pinpoint, sort of like we say, Errol. He lines his kicks up. He's a nice kick. He's not a rush. He's not a dump kick. He's a nice kick. Now he's fit. He's put on a bit of size. He's moving well. He's played enough footy. In the midfield, when they get the ball in his hands, it's like he's that much better than Jack McRae in there, isn't he? He's really nice. He's keeping Riley Sanders out. If your midfield is Treloar, Bont, Richards, and the way he's playing, it's like, why would you keep Riley Sanders in the twos? They don't need to just bring him in. Let him play 100. Let him play 50 games in the twos if they're going to be this good. So, super happy for the Dogs. It'll be a great test for them. Swans at Marvel. Let's see how good they really are because they're playing good footy. So,
yeah,
I know. Yeah, it's a good game. Do you have some odds?
Yeah, I do. So Toby Green for 3 was at $2.80, which was nice.
So, that's short. He didn't kick a goal last week.
Jesse Hogan, this is still great money. So for 3 goals, it's $1.87. Your big prime forwards, Jev, they're going to kick goals. So just make sure you keep backing them. Who do we have? We've got, please tell me we can get, you couldn't even get fucking, what's his name? Harms. Even after kicking 4 last week, you still can't get him for 2. What is wrong? Oh, yeah, you can. $7.
That's nice.
$7 for 2 goals. Sam Darcy, $1.84. And then the rest were just 1,000,000 point kickers. Let's go on to some disposals. Treloar's having a good year, Jev.
He really is.
Treloar is having a good year. It's good for their podcast as well. So well done to him and Dunk. So that's $2.35. He was for 35. Lockie Whitfield for 30 was $1.67. So that's pretty short. What about Himmelberg? He had 30. $12.50, Jev.
That's nice.
Well done. Well done to the burger. And that's pretty much it. What about Tom? Actually, let's go. Ed Richards, here we go. $1.93 for 25. So that's a good bet coming into the next few weeks. Now, we know how they like to play. They like to all get their hands on it, and it's going to be nice conditions under the lid. So hopefully we can have a look. Oh, actually, I've got one for you, Jev. What does this pay? Please have a market for it. Here we go. Last 2 weeks, Aaron Norton's had 20 touches, $5.30.
So that's nice. So this is going to be interesting. If you were to call it now, the Dogs love to have it in their hands, flick it around, everyone gets a touch. You cannot overpossess it against the Swans.
Can't turn it over.
Because when we turn it over, it's going for a goal, and you still don't trust the Dogs' backline. Will the Dogs be more direct and like get it on the boot, get it in, or will they try and overpossess and our pressure will get them?
Hey, who was what? I just like trends. We like trends in the game. You know when you've seen something.
Yep.
We watched our man Bailey Humphrey, TIO. He had the big game, and then we knew this was coming. Jamara had a big primetime game on a Thursday night last year. We kicked 5 straight. Who was that against?
I don't think it was the Swans, but I can find out.
If it was a Thursday night, this could be not saying that they're going to win, but we just like trends. And remember, everyone's like, he's arrived. Jamara had an absolute night out. Like,
yeah, I do remember it.
He kicked 3 in the first or something, and it just
kicked 6 in total, I reckon. People will know. I reckon it was against Richmond or St Kilda, but I'm getting it up right now. Let's get into the next game. See, I'll get it up for you while you start talking about the next game. He kicked 5 against Richmond.
Yeah, maybe that was it.
He kicked 5 goals straight against the Lions. Yeah, he kicked 5 goals straight against the Lions.
It was against the Lions. Interstate side, Marvel.
And he kicked 5 against Melbourne.
Just putting it on record.
Love it. Next game. This game was a fizzer that was always going to end in one way, and that was Fremantle beating St Kilda because St Kilda are bad. I said to a couple of mates before the game, do St Kilda just on a line have one player better than Freo on their line. So you got Cal Wilkie versus Alex Pearce. Yes, Cal Wilkie's the All-Australian from last year, but who's playing better right now? Alex Pearce. You've got Josh Treacy versus Max King. Who's playing better right now?
Pizza Hut.
It's not close in the midfield. I'd take Sarong, I'd take Brayshaw, I'd take Hayden Young before I took a Saints midfielder. So they've got 3 better midfielders than all the Saints midfielders. Yes, you can start talking about like Mitch Owens versus Michael Walters or something like half forwards. Yeah, you can. The Saints can have them. They do not. Or another good one was: would you rather Rowan Marshall or Luke Jackson? Like that's a good question. That's definitely for your opinion. Like they're both awesome in their own way, but the Saints list just is not good enough, and they are not good enough. They were horrible. This game was average to watch, and it just was always going to end in a Freo win, and they were underdogs, and they just won it pretty easily in the end. Did you see much of this game?
I did. I had both of them. I was rocking Julies. I had dual screens on watching this game. I just enjoyed because it was semi-close. So I was just like, some fan base is going to get super pissed off by the end. Patrick Voss, the bloke that they picked up, I think from the Bombers.
The Bombers VFL. He won the Bombers.
He's big. But so Jai Amiss, the A stands for another.
Another miss.
Yeah,
he was missing shockers.
So 2 goals, 5. I'm pretty sure I had one that did make the distance or one went out on the full.
His crappy routine that he runs up with.
Someone, Pav needs to go down there. He walks in slower than Marbiol Chol.
Yeah.
Like, it's like a couple then leans back on it. Just lean yourself forward and just drive through the fucking footy. You know who's got a great set shot that people need to watch? Bontempelli.
Yeah.
He comes forward at the ball and just fucking cracks into it.
Yeah.
Like, he's just poking. I'm like, nah, you're going to miss it straight. Just go. Mechanics, stiffen up a little bit more. Stop being as loose. But he could have been the game breaker. That could have been a career best night for him. Owens was kicking a couple. He had 3. Mateus Filippo. Did you hear about that this morning?
No.
Apparently he asked to stay in the 2s.
Really?
I swear to God. Apparently he asked to stay in the 2s and get more touches, but play more midfield. And Ross is like, no, we need people to play in the midfield. He's like, yeah, he'll be disappointed with his efforts. Only the
1 goal, 1, 4 touches.
He asked to stay.
Fucking myth.
He asked to stay in the 2s.
Oh,
he's
God.
going, isn't he? He's on a contract extension.
If he is what everyone says he can be, he's a good one for the Crows as well, like a centre forward. But he's just not that. He's a fucking myth. Anyway, well, yeah.
Jimmy Webster wanted to book himself another holiday, but nah. When I posted that meme,
hurt so much.
When I posted that meme, someone's like, "Oh, not your best, mate." It's for a joke.
Yeah,
it's for a laugh. I was trying to get a few likes, and I did. So well done to me. Like that's what you're about, the sniper. Of course, he had all eyes for the footy. I agree with that, but fuck, just trying to get a few likes.
Sarong another 30. He's playing some good footy, Das. He is a good midfielder.
Let's just go through some odds quickly because this game was doggies. If you're a Saints fan, Jev, before I look up some odds, do you just want to give him anything else? Like,
I'll say just one quick thing. So you look at the AFL rating points. Jordan Clark gets second best on ground. He has 29 disposals, 24 kicks, and he's the second best player on the ground. Like, the Swans tagged him last week, right? So we're top of the ladder, 9-1, and we're going and tagging a halfbacker who's super damaging. So we put it on tape for everyone. Stop Jordan Clark, and it goes a long way to stopping Freo.
Yeah.
So is Ross Lyon too arrogant to go, no, we'll let this, no, our system's good enough. Let's let this bloke. So he has 29 touches, 24 kicks, and torches them all night. And it's like, but it was there for you. We did it last week. We showed you how to do it, and then you just don't do anything about it. Like, that's what would piss me off about a Saints supporter. And I see online they're starting to turn on Ross. They're starting to say, we will not win a premiership under Ross. It's not Ross's fault the list is like it is, but they're turning on everyone now. They are horrendous. How many games have they won for the year?
2.
3. They beat North Melbourne recently. They've won 12 points, the same amount as Hawks. Like, they are fucking bad. They should feel sick. And they've got Max King. Oh, my God. There must be.
He wants out. He's kicked 9 goals for the year, Jev.
I tipped him for the fucking Norm Smith. I tipped the wrong King brother. Ben King's leading the Norm Smith now, isn't he? Coleman.
Yep. Jev, Warner's kicked more goals than him.
Yeah. So is Heaney. And I think Errol would be close as well. Like, right that. I reckon every Swans forward and every Swans midfielder has nearly kicked more goals than Max King this year.
Hey, you can't.
How many goals Pat Cripps kicked for the year? Pretty sure Bontempelli's kicked 16 goals for the year or 14 goals for the year.
He's kicked 16 or 17.
How many's Pat Cripps kicked for the year? Like,
a couple, probably 9, 10.
Like, fucking hell. Lift a little.
Yeah, I know.
One thing. Kane Corn said it during the week. It doesn't look like it means enough to Max King. He just looks like he plays footy to get paid. Like, it doesn't actually, like, if you said, like, you have to fucking win this game of footy for your family's life sort of thing, it doesn't mean enough to him. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
I do.
He doesn't actually care that much if it's win or loss. And that, like, if you're Ross Lyon or if you're a St Kilda fan, once I heard that, I'm like, it's so true. Like, the Saints fans that pay up for their memberships and invest in the team and go and watch training, like our mate Bally, like, he lives and dies by Saints wins and losses. It does not look like it means enough to. It looks like it means more to Bally than it means to Max King. I understand it's a job, but like, it must piss me off.
Some quick odds. Rowan Marshall for 30 disposals, $11.50. Nasai Wangani Malira is $3.35 for 30 disposals. Sarong only $1.39, which is fucking ridiculous.
Good.
Couple of guys for 25. Jordan Clark, $1.69, not too much there. And Mitch Owens kicked 3 goals, which was the only real money hole, which was $7.50. He hasn't kicked that many goals this year. So, yeah, back to the drawing board. I can see it coming now. Saints are going to keep doing shit, and then they roll the Blues under the lid. Happens every year. Fucking want to neck myself. All right, next game, Jev.
So I didn't watch. I'm going to leave this game to you. I didn't watch a second of this game. I didn't need to. They set the line at 42.5. I said, this is the best bet of all time. Take the Lions minus 42.5. Richmond are the worst team in the AFL. They're in the worst position. They will not win a final in the 2020s again. They are so bad. West Coast will win a final before the Richmond Tigers. This was never going to be close. Talk to me about this game. 190 points.
We're going to start on a negative. The 100K died on this game. So McCluggage rested or suspended the week before. I can't remember. Came in, started pretty well, got subbed out on 16 disposals. The 100K is officially dead for this week. But the 10K Punters Club is still riding. But apart from that, Jev, this has been... I'm telling you, if you're trying to put together a multi or you're trying to find cash, a $3, a $4 thing, back your smalls players. Back the guys that you like, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Even if they're not a high-name player. We look at Bailey Humphrey. He's out of form. Who cares? He went out and kicked a fucking 4 goals, $71. When are you finding a $71 winner, Jev? Never. I then went out the next night and said, Durden, didn't get a kick, but that's fine. You keep looking for these guys. Back the good guys. Charlie Cameron kicked 5 goals. That was at 20. That was at $13, which wasn't that much. For 6 goals, he was 29, which I was hoping that he got a little bit more. And Kai Lohman, Jev, this is what we're talking about. 5 goals. He was $91. But if you're backing your smalls, 91.
91.
God, and especially if you look at matchups, like we'll go over the Bombers in a minute because they're going to hopefully towel up north and guys are going to kick goals. Richmond, you're going to kick goals against them, especially when you're at home at the Gabba. This is an official game at the Gabba where they just absolutely lock horns and take you for a ride. 100 points, Jev, if you got them, if you want to take Brisbane, which a lot of people in our Discord did, $13 to 1.
Yeah.
13 to 1. Not much to talk about Richmond. Just a couple of little points. Lockie Neal, unbelievable. They love to look for him to come in board. So now is a really good time to now jump on the back of Neal for disposals. 36 last night, could have easily been 40, 45.
He loves playing Richmond.
He does. Dane Zorko, 35 disposals. The funnest role in football. Play on the half-back line.
Don't
You really have to defend that much. And can you imagine you got to play? The boys are always looking for you, and you're just trying to fucking bury balls, like find darts at teammate. It's like you're training, and you're just trying to find the hardest kick.
Take off the hardest kick you can.
Yeah. Him and Errol Goulden. Like, if Errol could play that role as well, obviously he plays a bit more midfield forward, but those two guys, they just get to be a quarterback. Joe Danaher did what he did. Josh Dunkley's been playing some really good footy, Jev. But yeah, it's good team performance. But Kai Lohman, 5 goals, $91. That is an absolute honeypot. Nice. I'll find out what he paid for 4 as well. Kai Lohman, $21 for 4. For 3 goals, $7.25. For 2 goals, he was $2.75. So the Lohman family will be eating lobster for the next month, I reckon. They'll probably get the squirts. It's a bit rich for me, lobster.
Yeah, it was always going to happen this game. We're going to be in trouble. We've gone 55 minutes. It's only Saturday night. It's actually midday. It's Saturday. So the Sunday games haven't even been played yet. We're going to come back on and do them. But I do make the little joke, and it is true, that Melbourne sold Richmond a lemon in Adam Uze. I heard he's a bit of a lemon coach. Melbourne sold Richmond a lemon. So Tigers fans are already turning on Uze. It can't be Adam Uze's fault because he had... So I can't bag Uze and then say, I watched the coaching performance he did against the Swans. So they've only got 1 loss, and it was Uze having a really good day and getting it right against the Swans. So it's just this horrible list situation where Dustin Martin looks that checked out. He is so checked out.
He's playing his 300th and going to Vegas.
Yeah, he should. I bet you there'll be an injury or something. He'll play his 300th, and then he's had a calf injury for 3 weeks, and he just won't play again this year.
That's it. He's done. He retires.
He's checked out, I reckon. Geez, they're in a bad situation, Richmond. It is a bad, bad situation. All right, let's go, Dobe. Let's go watch some football today. We'll come back on here later, talk some more shit. Cheers, brother. We are back. It is currently halftime of Melbourne West Coast. It's been actually a pretty good first half. We are watching Christian Petrarca like an absolute hawk. He's got 1 at halftime for us to win the 10K Punters Club. Harley Reid Snag was absolutely awesome. Jeez, I love that kid. Das, what's happening in that game?
I hate to say it, but we did say a few weeks ago after he kicked that massive point, we're like, Harley Reid's going to kick goal of the year in the next few weeks. We said it. It's on one of these shows. We actually have it on record out on the pod. We're like, he will kick goal of the year. The way that he burst away from stoppages, turned around, 3 bounces and goal. That was fucking... And
it's
the celebration.
Just beautiful.
Kid's a stud.
He's just
absolute stud.
Amazing to watch. So fucking awesome. West Coast are playing really well in that game. They're having a crack. Melbourne did kick about 3 goals in 3 minutes, but yeah, they're playing really low. So let's go back. Where were we? Essendon, North Melbourne. The Bombers get it done. We all saw this one coming. It's not a heap to report on this game. We all sort of knew this was going to happen. They won by 40 points. I probably thought it was going to be a bit more. North didn't play too bad in this game. Talk to me about this game, Das.
Yeah, 100%. As you did mention, the North really came up to fight the first little bit. Clarko was on the boundary. Seemed like he was pretty happy with the boys' efforts at the start, but you just thought it was a pretty big crowd, like
40,000 Bomber supporters, 43,000 I think it was.
It was pretty big, pretty loud. And one of the boys was going to get off the chain, and that was Peter Wright. So we had him for 2, but for 4 goals, Jev, you could have got 550, he was third in line, which is unbelievable. We know what his record is under the lid at Marvel. He's pretty much like Wayne Carey under the lid.
Yeah.
Like for 4 goals, Langford would have been 250, Stringer next 470, but Peter Wright, fill your boots. That was 550. And Matt Welfie, that's 2 weeks in a row, he's kicked 3. So he was 470 for 3 as well. And then touches, Jev. We have absolutely been talking about this for weeks. Like, I don't think we can talk about it anymore. Zach Fisher gets touches for North.
Yeah.
So he was perfect. Yeah, he's into $1.89 today, which is granted, because the last couple of weeks he's been out for like $5, $6. I think it was at $13 a few weeks ago
when he
hit it the first time. So Davies Uniacke started really well. Jev had a goal and 10 touches a quarter time, but it is what you thought. We thought Nick Martin would have got 30 touches, got the 27. So we'll write about that mark. I was worried about McGrath for a while there, but he got there for our 20. But Bombers handled business. Not much really to report.
What I liked from North Melbourne and Clarko especially, they tagged Zach Merritt. They put Liam Shields to Zach Merritt. Did a really good job on him as well. And it's like, I know it didn't stop the Bombers, but for a while it was stopping him. And maybe against a better side, you're going to see Zach Merritt have a bit more attention, especially if Parrish doesn't play. It's like they're good. They're still the Bombers though. Like, I would be putting time into Zach Merritt. And how classy was LDU in that game? How smooth is he? He kicked the first. He kicked another one that was such a classy finish goal. The way he moves around stoppages. I was thinking, Das, while I was watching, so we talked about earlier in this pod, and then we've gone away for 6 hours, and now we're back. So we said Thilthorpe and Adelaide's first round pick for Max King. Mm-hmm. Adelaide should also overpay, but I think LDU might be their man. Pay LDU as their classy midfielder that he is a nice mix of what Laird, Crouch, Dawson is. And then Adelaide should nearly try and get Zerha as well. He can be the centre forward, Bull, Petrarca, goal kicker. So if Adelaide, I don't know why I give a fuck about Adelaide so much, and North Melbourne aren't going to give him 2 players. Maybe Adelaide would have to give him Dan Curtin in return, who I know they love. They got big raps on, all this stuff. I'm just making this trade as I'm saying. But if Adelaide trotted out next year and they had Max King, Cam Zerha, LDU, then I would start thinking of them as a more top 4 premiership team. Anyway, that's how I'm fixing the Crows. I don't really care. I loved LDU's game today. He's as smooth as. Really like what I'm seeing from Wardlaw. He's not scared of any player, any contest. He goes so hard at the ball. And everyone knew how good Essendon were at centre clearances and just a clearance team in general, especially centre bounces. I think Clarko sort of put Wardlaw in there. He said, take it up to him at the start, and they did. They won the first couple of centre clearances. They were on fire. So I actually like what I saw from North Day. Aiden Core gave Kyle Langford a bath. People are talking about Kyle Langford as All-Australian. Aiden Core gave him a bit of a bath. There was a missing persons unit on looking for Kyle Langford until the last quarter he finally popped up and kicked a goal. Peter Wright was really good. He was really, really good. Jake Stringer was kicking some nice snags. Yeah, it was a fun game to watch. The Bombers were just too good. Mason Redmond for 20 was a great leg in the 100K to $1.65.
Just want to give a round of applause. Bombers fans, you guys are second.
Unbelievable. If you had to have a substantial amount of money right now and then to win a final, would you take it?
No.
You still wouldn't take it, would you? No. I don't know either. Especially if they finish second, Collingwood finish third, Pies at the G, and then they fucking they play Carlton or something. Or I probably wouldn't say they're going to win a final yet either. It's one of those ones you got to see it to believe it.
Yeah,
I would not bet on them. Fuck.
I'll tick it off when we get there, but it was a good win, Jev. 40 points. If you had them 1 to 40, you'd be stiff because they had to be over that 40 mark, wouldn't it? Oh, no, it was always 1 to 39, so 40 plus you guys would have got it. But, Jev, this next game.
Oh, I cannot believe the finish in this game. So,
for everyone that's watched it, we have been talking about do not park the bus. Don't park the bus because there is one thing in football. If you park the bus, if you know the other team aren't trying to score, you can push everyone up on the ground. And then even if they get one more goal, that's fine. Then they're going to even try and hold up even more. You just have a green light.
Yep.
This paints that Melbourne did it against Carlton. And this was just the ultimate of just guys that just couldn't handle the situation, the moment, couldn't hold it in. Port Adelaide just fucking, you may as well go back to the start, Jev, because Blake Hardwick was looking like Dunstall.
Again at Adelaide
just,
Oval. If Odra and Dunstall had a baby, it's Blake Hardwick at Adelaide Oval.
But then they put him to fucking half back. Then they put him in the back line for the second half. So it's like,
because they want him to shore up the game. They put him on Jason Horne-Francis in the back line, but he kicked his fifth. Anyway, they only kicked 1 point in the last quarter.
What's your initial reaction of it? Like, it's coaching, but it's also player execution because they know what they've got to do.
Yeah.
Like, there's no much more than Sam Mitchell can be like, all right, when we get it, hit your next target. Guys, we've trained for this. Like, you know that they would have trained for it. They're like, if we get in this situation, just don't fuck it up. And they did.
I think
can we talk about, because this man, he was nowhere near it for most of the game. Zach Butters had 16 touches in the last quarter and some unbelievable clearances and literally pulled them along the line. Does he get Brownlow votes?
I reckon he nearly walks away with some. I don't even know what the Brownlow votes will be, because you nearly give them to all Hawks because they won the game. But then once you lose the game, it's like, well, now to the Port Adelaide. I actually don't know. Do the umpires actually care who wins and lost the game, especially in a 1 point game? Does that come into account?
I think
Zach Butters,
for sure.
Zach Butters won them the football game in that last quarter.
So is he not best on the ground?
I think he gets 2 Brownlow votes.
Because if without him, Port Adelaide don't win that football game,
and then he doesn't get any votes.
Like, he was on that game for the final, because you can't win a game in the first quarter, but you can in the last. If you win a game for a team in the last quarter and you dominate, like, it's a fucking good discussion, but he's thereabouts again, Jev.
So the 4 on the AFL fantasy points best on that game were Dan Houston, 3 goals, 22 touches. That was a very nice game. Blake Hardwick, who kicked 5 and had 23. Then Butters, then Horne-Francis. Those 4 are the only people getting Brownlow votes. You just got to figure out who gets what and how many. But they're the 4 that are going to get the 6 Brownlow votes. I just don't know who's going to be in there.
You couldn't get Blake Hardwick for 5 goals.
No, you couldn't get him 5. You probably could on points better Brett 365. We don't screenshot those.
Oh, you don't have enough time to screenshot all the other ones.
41-1. Apparently it was so I posted the clip, the photo of him getting 41-1. One of our followers had him for $10. But guys with DMS saying he was 100-1 on points bet and 365 to kick 4. Geez, that would have been nice, 100-1.
Mate, smalls are a thing. You just got to find them. Someone in each game.
Except for the smallest small, that little turd, Nick Watson. Alir buried him 6 feet under.
I was like, is he gonna? I thought he was gonna run under him, and he just blanketed him. He literally, like, I was like, it's in the back. It's got to be something. Nah, the umpire. No, it's fair call.
He's just so small. You think every time he gets tackled, it's a free kick, but it was a fair tackle. He just got mauled into the turf.
So Horne-Francis kicked 2, Jev. He's paying $3.
Yeah.
If he can keep being a midfield, like, he looks like a pure forward. Yeah. So if he can just pinch hit, almost like that Heaney role, they look natural forward. So when they go in the midfield, dominate, and then just go rest like Bontempelli and all those guns. But what a fucking, like, I already had the mind in my head. I'm like, oh my God. So the Hawks they're actually all right.
Yeah.
They're back. Port Adelaide, they had an unbelievable win and then they shut the bed. But then to show this sort of win, it doesn't matter how you win. You just got to claw out those wins. That's where Collingwood 2 years ago, when they made the prelim, they were just winning against sides. Remember North were up by like 30 points and they just won. But it didn't matter what sort of team they were. They would play to that level and only just claw out wins. But gutsy win by Port Adelaide.
Gutsy win.
Their fans would be stoked. Darcy Byrne-Jones, 2 in 30 seconds.
Oh, unbelievable that so when Willie Rioli, then it went Byrne-Jones.
Yeah, sorry.
Willie, and he just finished it, and the Port fans, there was 2 seconds on the clock yet. They just were all just like, oh my God. And then Sam Mitchell's press conference is out now. I'm going to listen to it after this, but he will be doing. But if you look at the longer picture of the Hawks, it's as much as emotion is right now, it's nearly better they lost that game. They did everything right to win. They played really well in the wet. They outplayed Port Adelaide for 3 quarters, yes.
At away as well.
Away from home. So they rocked up to play away in the wet. They smashed them. Then they're young. So then they're going to learn. They're going to show the tape. It's going to be a good review. They're going to learn so much from how they lost the game. They don't get the 4 points, but they still get the better draft pick, which is we know they're not winning the flag or playing finals this year anyway. So it's like, as much as it hurts right now, it's just actually not that bad of a loss for Hawthorn because Sam Mitchell will be able to teach them so much from that last quarter, and they already would have been working on it, and now they will learn so much. And it's like they don't actually need the wins and losses, Hawthorn. As much as wins get your supporters with, they need experience into guys. They need to play together. They need to keep getting games into Cole Shadir, who I love the look of.
He's going to be
Got
great.
his hands. They were saying on the coverage, they were just saying, I don't care if Cole he dropped a couple of sodas, but he's like, he leads to the right place. He demands the ball. They kick it to him. Yes, he dropped a couple of chest marks. He missed a couple of set shots, but it's like, that'll come. He shows he's got that forward now. So he knows where the ball's going. He demands it. So like the look of Cole Shadir, got to keep playing Nick Watson. Jack Ginnivan's playing really well. So it was as much as it's going to annoy Hawthorn fans, it was nearly the perfect day for Hawthorn. You don't get the 4 points. You do everything right. You rock up to Adelaide Oval in the wet and you beat up Port Adelaide. You just didn't win the game.
And you still get your draft pick at the end of the day.
You still get your draft pick. So, yeah, they're not going to like that. But this pod won't come out till Monday. I don't know. I know our mate Colin, who's a Mad Hawk supporter, said he was shaking after the game. I think he had to go for a walk.
He's hemorrhaging.
When he listens to this on Monday Arvo or whatever, he'll sort of go, actually, you know what? He'll be calmed down. He's like, maybe it wasn't that bad of a loss. It's just going to be learning, and Sam Mitchell's going to take it. And then, see, I don't think – I'm not going to say it's not a good win for Port Adelaide. You've got to win. But they did this last year. They went on that 12-game win streak. Everyone thought they were premiership favourites, but they were never actually that good, were they? They were never that good. Straight sets again, they went out. So, like, it's more like same thing. They've walked away with the 4 points, but it's like putting duct tape over a fucking sinkhole. Like,
yep.
They were crap. They were horrible all day. It took Zach Butters, it took Dan Houston, it took Willie Rioli and Horn Francis to get him over the line, and then Burn Jones finished it. So, yeah, it's a bit of a funny game, that one. Is there any? Do we have some odds? Do we need any odds? What did Houston pay for 3?
Houston, who's Houston for 3? No, for 2 is $14 though.
Oh, geez, that's nice. You'll be able to get him for 3 on 365. What Tav was saying, so we'll be able to have that on Gold Rush on the pod. Zach Butters for 30, D'Ambrosio for 25.
Yeah, D'Ambrosio.
Horn Francis for 2.
Hey, D'Ambrosio's having a very good season.
Yeah, he's a good pickup.
For $6 he was paying for 25.
Nice.
And Zach Butters at the end, $1.69. I love him. I love him. I love him. I love him.
If he gets I wonder if he spoke shit after the siren like he did last week against the Cats.
He would have
got into him. Is there any other odds we need to know? Willie kicked 3 second half.
No, Will Day, 25 touches, $3. He's only just starting to get into it.
He's looking good. That was a nice goal he kicked too. Real nice goal.
How class is he?
Yeah, he'll be a Brownlow. We've said this already. If he does a full preseason next year, we're having a little bit on for Brownlow. It's only his 53rd game today. Only his 53rd game. So, like, by the end of this season, it'll be close to 60, 70. And then it's like, it's time to explode for a couple of seasons.
Jev, the second half is underway. If you guys are listening to this, we are one Petrarca goal away from $10,000 for the Punters Club. The Harley Reid goal was incredible. Waterman looked incredible.
We love Waterman.
I think the Coasters can hang on.
Yeah, they're playing really well.
When Waterman's in the side and at home, they look really good. Flying Ryan might kick another 1 or 2. Harley Reid's had 1 and 14 in the first half.
That is if he walks off with 2 and 30 as an 18-year-old kid against Petrarca and Oliver.
Well, the most promising thing, Petrarca started forward.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to keep...
There was a couple like we needed a stoppage in the forward line and they just kept kicking snags. So let's get off this. Let's go watch.
Sunday roast. You will know if we win. We've earned this. We deserve this, Jev.
That is the Sunday roast. See you next week. Remember, send this to a friend. If you've made it this far, send this to a friend. Recommend the pod. Give it a like on YouTube. Subscribe on Apple, Spotify. Subscribe on YouTube. It helps us out a lot. We love doing it. We love sending to you guys. Peace out.
Let's go. Come on.
Petrarca.
Go to the truck.